Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Blind Guy, the podcast. I'm your host, Greg the Blind Guy. And today is very special for two reasons. One, this is going to be our very first guest on episode two. And also, two, the guest is a very dear friend of mine, Brandy. So, Brandy, say hello.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming today.
No
So,
problem.
you have been blind your whole life. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. How was it growing up being blind?
Um, it could be isolating at times.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Not being able to have access to a lot of transportation made it difficult for me to see my friends. So I spent a lot of time on the phone back then. That was really my only means of communication with them.
Yeah.
So um it was a little isolating, but it was also really cool, because my parents could never tell me, you know, go to bed, you're up too late, because they never knew. Like if I wanted to read a book, I could keep my light off, right? I could
Mhm.
read in the dark, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times they would have no idea that I was staying up later to read or whatever. So it definitely had its challenges, but it also had its good points too.
Now, you said, okay, not to reveal your age too much,
Hmm.
and you could slap me if I do, but you said you spent a lot of time on the phone.
I
So,
did.
did your parents have a rotary dial or was it buttons you could press?
Oh man, I remember the rotary phones. They sucked. They were so hard for me to use. My parents didn't have one, but my grandmother did.
Yeah.
And so I always, like, if I wanted to do the number seven, for example, I would always have to count. I never knew exactly where the hole was for the correct number because they all felt the same, right?
Right.
So I would always have to count one, two, three, four, six, seven. All right, that's the first number. One, two, three, four. Like it was painfully slow. And then, of course, you had to remember what you even dialed. And sometimes you would have to wait until it finished the dial all the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to wait for it to get back to its starting point
Yeah.
sometimes, but other phones you could dial faster. It just depended, but yeah, all of them were a pain. No, I just had a push button phone for most of my childhood.
Yeah. My grandma had a rotary phone, I think, wow, well into her 60s. Um, and we had one for years. So I understand, well, obviously, as a younger sighted person, even a little bit of frustration because when you dial, especially as you're dialing the one, 403, and you mess up on the ninth, number, and then you're swearing because you got to start all over
Yep.
again. Yeah. So how was it in school for you?
So I was mainstreamed as a child, meaning that I went to a public school
Yeah.
for my entire schooling that I had. And I had a teacher's assistant who would come with me to all my classes, um, which wasn't always the best, but it was, at least I had something, right, for
Mhm.
dealing with not being able to see. But and then I did have a brailler, and I had what they call a slate and stylus, which is almost like a little pin that you would use to punch into holes on a slate, and then the dots would show up on paper. So I had one of those for school too, but mostly I just used the brailler. Um, so that's how we adapted. I had textbooks that were usually brailled, and you just get through it. Math was tough,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how I did it.
Okay. Um, Were you ever teased much in school for being blind? Being
Yes,
different? Yeah.
I was. Yeah, it's unfortunate because you get singled out a lot. I was the
Mhm.
only blind person amongst 30, 40 sighted students, and that made me different than everybody else, right? So, of course, you get picked on. But I mean, I realized that I wasn't the only one being picked on, right? There were other kids that had other things that people would perceive to be afflictions
Yeah.
that they would get picked on, right?
I,
Um,
I can understand that. I was a plus size model as a young child,
right.
and so that got me picked on lots. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Shorter kids got picked on. Um, really, as a grown up now, I get that I really wasn't that segregated
Mhm.
because I wasn't the only different student. I mean, even foreigners would get picked on, right?
Right.
Um, but as a child, how do you reconcile yourself to that, right? You can't see everybody else around you to know what they're even being picked on about, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have no idea that you were a plus size, right? So, like, I wouldn't have known
It's probably from all the candy
as
bars I eat.
um, but yeah, it, I now understand that it wasn't all about me. It wasn't all picking up on me. Like if we had gone to school together, what I mean is I wouldn't have picked up on why they were picking on you.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting at. You know?
Mhm. So you grew up in Winnipeg?
Yes, Winnipeg,
Yeah.
Manitoba. Yeah.
Okay. So how was it getting around the city as you got a little bit older?
Um, I really didn't do a lot of travel unless I was with somebody.
Mhm.
Um, but I did have access to mobility services. So if I was with somebody, it was pretty easy for me to like I have really good cane skills, right?
Okay.
So and you have to have good cane skills even if you're going to walk with somebody, right? So um that helped. Um it was scary, anybody who's been in Winnipeg knows that Portage Avenue is one of the craziest streets. It's like the Mayor McGrath here, only much, 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 much bigger.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely had to learn early where my limitations would be.
Mhm.
Not going to cross that street. And I knew friends of mine that were blind that where their mobility instructors made them learn how to cross that street.
Really?
And I was
Wow.
always terrified that mine would make me do it, but she never did.
So you had really good mobility instructors and even class aides like to help you teach you Braille in these schools, or
I have a different perspective as an adult now. As a
Mhm.
child, I thought my student or my mobility instructor was great.
Yeah.
She barely made me work. She let me get away with putting in minimal effort. I mean, we had a relationship, like she just didn't want to ever force me to do anything that I didn't want to do,
Mhm.
right? Looking back, I wish that I had had the snob for a mobility teacher. I think she was too easy on me.
Yeah.
I don't hold anything against her though. She's a great lady. Um, but she's one of these that if you don't want to learn, she's not going to force your hand. And I think I just needed a little bit more of a you're not going to get out of this.
Yeah.
You have to type attitude, right?
Mhm.
So she let me slack off. And she wasn't the only one. There was a few of them that
Yeah.
kind of just let me slack off with it. Unfortunately, there's a friend of mine who had the snobbiest mobility teacher ever. Like, I was so afraid of her. Like, I would go to these camps for the blind in the summer, and we would always huddle in the corner, me and my friends. Oh my God, let's hope you don't get her. Let's not get her. Oh my gosh, I really hope that doesn't. Like, we would be so scared of getting her. And now looking back, I wish I had.
Yeah.
I wish if I had been my parent, I would have called and said, "Hey, make sure that you put her with this person
Mhm.
because, I would have cried as a child, but it would have been worth it." Like, I think I could have used her instruction looking back now.
Yeah. Nobody pulling punches with you and
I'm sorry,
maybe
though, I got off on a tangent. What was your original question? Sorry about that.
I think I forgot myself. No, but I was listening to the story, and that's great because just describing your experiences growing up, and I think we were talking a bit about just getting around Winnipeg, but still that comes with mobility as well,
Yeah.
because I know you've helped me out a lot. You got me to cross the street, right? Because
Mhm.
with CNIB here in Canada, which we know is horribly underfunded, I had to wait 4.5 months just to get my white cane.
Yes.
And then my mobility instruction was maybe half an hour tops. Not to
Mm,
complain, but like they're just so underfunded and they have such a lack of time.
that's right.
That's all I've gotten. Like I've gotten more from you as we were walking down the road and crossing the streets than I did with CNIB. And like I said, it's not a slight against them, but they're just so horribly underfunded that they got hundreds of people that they support in a large area.
Yes.
Yeah.
One-on-one instruction is probably what I feel like CNIB needs the most. It's just more instructors that are
Hmm.
willing to put in the time because that's really all you need is
Yeah.
just more one-on-one instruction time. You're my only you're the only person that I have that needs those kind of services like in my life, you know what I mean? Like my only friend that right, so I have the time
Hmm.
to kind of just show you how I do things and I like doing that kind of thing for people as well. Any knowledge that I can pass on or share, I'm always going to be willing to do that.
Well, I'm thankful for it because as a blind person, I'm a baby, right? Like I'm still learning all this stuff from the get go because I've only been blind for a year and a half
Right,
now.
still so new for you.
Yes, I am a newbie, so
Yeah.
I'm just thankful that I haven't ran out in the street and got ran over yet. I know my wife, she tells me if a stranger comes along and has a van full of candy and offers it to me, I should just go with them. Truthfully, I probably would because I love candy, especially around Halloween.
Candy.
Yes, I know, right? I got my
Delicious.
secret stashes around the house.
Mhm.
Um,
Better hope I don't find those
oh
'cause
yeah, but it was funny, and one of the most amazing things still amaze me to this day is that eventually you had a family and you raised four kids changing those diapers. Now I had a conversation with another father the other day, and as I was sighted when my kids were younger, and of course he's still sighted. We just laughed as fathers, like even without being blind. If we had four kids to change, we'd probably just have them a pull out back, just hosing them down and putting a new diaper on them, right?
I wanted to some days.
Yes, but that still absolutely floors me that you changed diapers and raised four kids. So please, like, just tell me a little bit about that as well.
Sure. Uh, where do I start? So I had them all pretty close together.
Mhm.
Um, my first and second one are 3 years apart. Well, 4 years apart, but the other ones are a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
So it was definitely very hectic because I had 4 children under 7, and I would babysit on top of that. Yeah. But really, the key is just organization and getting rid of clutter that isn't necessary.
Yeah.
And I was blessed with good organizational skills. I was blessed with a good memory, which is also really necessary.
Yeah.
Um, and I just made sure that certain rules were put in place. Like, so for example, I would ask friends that came over, whatever, don't leave things on my kitchen table,
Hmm.
right? Because I can't see where you put it, and then I can't control whether or not my kid gets a hold of it, right? So things like pens, keys, lighters, things like this, they never ever would I leave that stuff out because, especially things that roll, right?
Hmm.
Because then I would really have a hard time finding things, right? So um, there were just certain strategies that I used to sort of make my life a little bit easier.
Yes.
Um, it definitely comes with its challenges, but it's also very rewarding too. Just to when you don't have a sense, your other ones kind of they're not enhanced, but you're you sort of learn from an early age to really hone those senses and really get the most you can out of those senses. And that gives you a whole new perspective on things too.
Oh yeah. Well, I agree because it's funny as a new blind person, one of the first questions I get is like, okay, has your superhuman senses kicked in yet, right? Like, can you smell something from a mile away, or hear something? But being around you and listening to hear, like your phone, you have it going at such a high speed that I still can't even remotely understand. I
You'll get
maybe I
there.
maybe pick up the odd word, but it's amazing that how you can listen to things and how you're honed in to that. Still baffles me, right? Because I like things at a nice regular speed, and it's good enough for me. I might get there one day.
Oh,
Of
you
course,
will,
I might
definitely.
be 80 and have dementia, but
No.
I'll work on it. Yeah. So, how is life for you nowadays? Because the kids are, getting grown up. Um, Still, most are at home, but they're still, they're teenagers.
Mhm.
So, how's life for you now?
It's certainly easier.
Hmm.
Um, I definitely have, some more time. I always felt like I was pressed for time when my kids were really young.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's a little bit more breathable now, right? And so now I am spending a lot of my time focusing on skills that I know need some work, like mobility, for example. It's not because I'm blind that I'm not the best traveler. It's because I haven't bothered to put in the work to get better at it,
Okay.
right? So I'm just being honest about that. Um, I'm waiting for mobility training. I am taking courses online to get better at using Windows with a screen reader. So I'm learning all the Microsoft Excel stuff.
Mhm.
So now I find that I really just have more of an opportunity to focus on some of those skills that sort of didn't get looked after. I mean, I had my first child at 19, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really have much of a young adult life, right? Because
Hmm.
once you have kids, I mean, you had a daughter young too,
Yes.
if I recall. So you know what I mean? Like, when you have responsibilities that young, certain things are going to fall through the cracks, right? And
Hmm.
I have let a few things fall through the cracks, but now I'm finding that I have time to focus a little bit more on that. Make sure my independence stays really strong. Independence is very, very important to me, and I do want to add that since the making of these iPhones has really changed my life, like really, really, really. Um, how is life now? It, Having access to the iPhone was as large a change as no longer having young children, right? It's
Hmm.
that drastic of a change, and life is great, really. And then, uh, I had sighted assistance, right, back in the
Hmm.
day, whereas I don't have that so much anymore. So it's actually forcing me to stay independent,
Yeah.
which is nice. Like my kids are around, but I'm not going to bug them if they're tired, right? Like I'm just not. I didn't have kids for them to take care of me, right? So I'm going to figure out something else
Hmm.
before asking them. But it's nice to know that I have them. All that to say, um, I'm more independent than I've ever been, and life is it's pretty good. I have
Well,
no complaints.
yeah, well, especially with like the technology, as I've told you before, my great uncle who was blind in World War II, like his technology was a cane, right? The white cane.
Right.
But what we have, that I'm learning so much every day, especially you've been teaching me with the iPhone,
Sure.
just the accessibility and the apps that are coming out and technologies like the Ray-Ban Meta Smart glasses, which are on my Christmas list. Uh,
Mine too.
hint, hint, mom. Uh, but also too, like the WeWalk cane, with its plus and minuses. But there's so much with AI that's coming out that's so helpful. And one of my small, I guess I wouldn't say small, but larger joys in life is the verbal assistance on the television.
Oh
So I
yeah.
can go through everything on the TV if I want to go to YouTube or Netflix, any of the streaming, and I can watch a show as it describes it. And as more technology is coming out, we're getting more and more descriptive videos, even on older movies
Mhm.
that I love to watch. So I'm very thankful for that. because I can do stuff around the house and put on a show and listen to it, especially if it's something I didn't see, well, I could see, um, you know, listening to that descriptive video helps out a lot, and I can still enjoy the programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really come very far.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something very thankful for that. So most of your training right now, is that through CNIB?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, it is. But I also find out a lot through resources online. Like there are groups, Facebook groups, for visually impaired people. There's tons of them. And I've met a lot of good people off of those Facebook groups, and they have showed me a world of things too. And some of those people have actually gone to blind schools.
Oh,
So they're getting training that I've never had access to.
yeah.
So, and they're very willing, a lot of them are willing to talk about how they got to where they are and what they did to get there. And um, so having access to resources online has been really helpful to me as well. I've learned a ton online from people all over the world, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great. Yeah, because I could be wrong, but I don't. I think all the schools in, at least in Canada, are all integrated. So there are no schools for the blind anymore in Canada.
Well, the Brantford one's gone.
I believe so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
No, like I said, I could be wrong, but like talking to other people, because I work with a mentorship program through CNIB, and as far as I know, but like I said, not the expert on it. But
Hmm.
if there is, like, there's really next to nothing or nothing now. Everything they've tried to do is integrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much is it left in the United States at all either. So,
I'm aware of a few.
mhm.
There's one in Michigan that's still pretty prominent, is my understanding.
Oh, that's good.
And they're blind. There's blind centers too. I
Mhm.
think there's one in Iowa as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Um, but it does seem like there were more blind schools back then than there are now.
Mhm.
I don't know though. Definitely don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
Um, but I hear more about guide dog schools than I do about actual blind schools. So that's definitely something we'd have to look into. But
Yes.
I've often thought about going to one of those centers for the blind for a couple of weeks. I mean, just because I figured out my way of staying independent doesn't mean I couldn't learn something that might be a little easier. Like,
Yes.
nobody taught me how to change diapers. I taught myself,
Mhm.
right? Nobody taught me really how to clean. I came up with my own way of doing it,
Yes.
right? But
Yeah.
how are people being taught? I would be really curious to know. And hey, I'm always willing to learn,
Yeah. Well, it
you
seems
know?
as I've struggled as well because in learning to cook, like I tried to access resources that were not CNIB directed, but on how to cook, and
Hmm.
eventually, lack and even through Alberta Health Services, people are like, well, we know how to teach people how to cook, but not blind. And so them, it was kind of like a stab in the dark themselves. And so I just had to find a new way to how to cook. And like I said, when I talk about like starting with like craft dinner of all things, nothing too gourmet, but cooking it in a different way than I did when I could see. So there was less chance of me burning myself. So
Hmm.
I have to think through all the steps, and like you said before, be very organized in everything I do. Know where every fork, where every knife is, where every plate, where I'm, our cutting board. I
Yeah.
have that all set up before I even start.
Yeah,
Try to think through the whole process.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's a really neat exercise, Greg,
Mhm.
that I only just found out about a couple of weeks ago, and I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
How they teach blind people to flip things.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I'm actually going to practice this myself because I feel like it will really help. You get a paper plate, that's your frying pan.
Yeah.
And then you get some Play Doh and like make it into like a pancake
Okay.
or whatever it is you're trying to learn to flip, really.
Yeah.
And then the object of the exercise is to flip that pancake on the paper plate, but you're not allowed to touch the edges of the plate.
Oh really?
Right. And so that way, like, there's no danger of you getting hurt,
Yeah.
but the size of a standard paper plate, a standard dinner plate, is going to be the same size as the average frying pan that you're cooking on, right?
Right.
So if you can teach yourself to reach for something without touching the edges,
Hmm.
you have a much better shot at flipping without burning yourself.
You know what, Brandy? I think we just have our next video. We're going to do some Play-Doh pancake flipping.
All right, we'll
Show everybody.
practice.
Yes, yes. And if I get any on the ceiling, I think my wife will kill me. So yeah,
Well,
but
Play-Doh comes right off though. It's not that bad. It's gonna be okay.
yeah, that's
um,
good. Okay, well, we'll put that on the Amazon order list next. So
there you go.
yeah,
There you go.
well, that's all. Yeah, and it's great when you have those communities that you can talk with because
Definitely.
I started the Blind Bowling League about a year ago when Bill, obviously with our group, he was pretty excited whenever there's a new person that wants to come and bowl.
Hmm.
And I know that I my very first game I got 11 points, and there's no bumper on these, right? It's just you, the alleyway, and a whole lot of gutters,
Yep.
and I got 11 points my first game. Now, to be honest, I was excited because that was 11 more points than I thought I would get without trying to kill somebody, throwing a ball into another lane. So I was very excited. But as the year progressed, like at one game, I got a turkey, which I don't think I even got when I could see. And, I think I ended off the season with an average of 69 points, but even in this new season, I'm a little bit above that,
Hmm.
which is great. It's still, can be obviously frustrating at times, and you want to throw something into another wall. But it's just learning and also being a part of that community that
Yes.
I'm, just excited to be a part of. Right? Yeah, and being part of the Sunshine Tea that we go to as well once a month. With whatever they come in and talk to about that time. The most recent one was the lawyer program that we can access through the CNIB,
Oh yes. Yeah.
getting legal advice, which is nice. I know it wasn't, for everybody, but I walked away with it with some great information. Um, and yeah, it's just a great program, just being a part of the community. Yeah.
And it makes things a little less isolating too.
Yes.
Um, because unless you're willing to take a bus,
Hmm.
then you either have to rely on other people in your life for transportation or you're relying on a cab service.
Yes.
Um, so the more independent you can push yourself to be, and I mean you generally, not you specifically,
Hmm.
you as a blind person, the more independent that you can be, the less you have to rely on others, which helps with the isolation, right?
How are you with the isolation right now?
Not too bad
Hmm.
because I do get out right
Yeah.
now, right? Like I'm here right now, right? So I'm not at
Yes.
home right now. And I go for a lot of walks.
Hmm.
I like to go for walks. And I still get out, once in a while with my kids. We'll go out for coffee or something like that. And maybe this is part of because of how I grew up, but I don't have this need to go out all the time.
Yeah.
It's whereas some people they can't handle it. Like I've got a friend in Iowa who's completely blind and she has to get out of the house. Like I'm more of a homebody. I'm happy to knit or read or sing or like I don't it's not that I don't like people. It's just that it's a little bit lower on my priority list that whereas some people who have a greater need for connection have to be out all the time. Those are the ones that I feel suffer the most for not necessarily having the ability to take the bus for whatever reason.
Well,
Um,
speaking of suffering, and anybody listening out on the podcast, is that I actually sang for Brandy last time I was visiting with her. And all she said was like, "Well, you just keep working on that." And I'm like, "I'm nearly 50. I'm not going to be get a career as singing." So yeah, so at least I got to make her suffer a little bit with my singing.
he's lying.
I don't lie. I just bullshit heavily.
Embellish big time.
Yeah,
Big
a
time.
little bit
Seriously,
from
what do you
time.
even need me here for? um, yeah.
Yeah, I know the isolation was hard for me in the beginning, um, because I'm a person that like to be out. I'm a very social person,
Yeah,
as you know,
yeah,
and so it was tough, especially those first few months. Like I had contemplating at one point ending my life because, no pun intended, I couldn't see a path forward.
sure.
I couldn't. And then
Yeah.
I started learning a little bit more, getting out for walks. Like at the end of the first summer, my goal was just to walk to make it to the mailbox. And so I do that all the time now. I'm getting a little more independence. And so isolation doesn't affect me as much now. Um, Being at home, I'm a little more used to being it because at first I would say it'd be like being in a very comfortable prison, right? But I don't feel that way anymore. I've gotten a lot more independence.
Yeah.
Yes, I still like to go out with my NA group, with the Sunshine Tea, with bowling, getting
Hmm.
out a little bit. It
Sure.
does help. But I know before, if I spent more than 2 days at home, I'd be crawling up the walls. I just couldn't take it. I had to get out. But now I can do that and I'm very comfortable with it now. Um, I'm a little more, I guess, accustomed to the isolation. Yeah.
Well, and it will come in time, right?
Hmm.
Like, um, you're taking it slowly. You
Yeah.
know, you're talking about going to the mailbox and going out for walks and stuff like that. We got you crossing residential streets now. You weren't doing that before, right? And then,
Yeah.
next maybe we'll try a slightly busier street. And then next, we'll we'll do the ones with the crosswalks. And then next we'll take a bus, like just one bus that will get us pretty much right to where we need to be, right? Like it's a stepping stone, right? It's
Yeah.
a process, right? And you'll get there.
I
Um,
think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a chicken suit so that when I cross the road, people are just going to like naturally want to stop, right? Like they're like, "What the hell is this guy doing? He's in a chicken suit. I got to stop and see this." So I'm not going to get ran over. So the chicken can cross the road, right?
to get to the other side,
But
yes.
yeah, yes.
It's definitely where I'm the least independent, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Mhm.
Whereas some blind people, man, they can take subways, trains, planes. Oh my gosh, I knew this one guy once. He could do anything. He knew those airports, could traverse them just fine. And that's without technology, I want to add.
Wow.
Some people, they just really thrive in different areas.
Yeah.
But that's normal,
Mhm.
right? I know sighted people who hate to cook or don't like to or can't. Sighted people who can't
Don't
boil
like to
water,
travel. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a bit of a thing put on us. Oh, poor blind person, can't do that because you're blind.
Mhm.
It's not actually because I'm blind. It's because I don't really want to learn. Like, to be honest with you, I don't want to. I'd rather just get driven everywhere, right? Like, in a
Yeah.
perfect world, I'd have a chauffeur.
Yeah.
So, anytime you feel like winning that lottery, Greg, just I would love to have a
We
chauffeur.
will get a Tesla and we'll crash it into everything. And then we'll be so rich we can just go get another Tesla.
My son says Teslas are no good.
Well, they're not. No.
I don't know anything about them, but
I
that's what
will
I've heard.
when I could see this was out in Vancouver. They test like they put the self-driving. Now on the road, it actually did not too bad for the self-driving part. The
Mhm.
parking, they had to intercede because they would have hit another vehicle.
Mm.
But the thing is, with our good old Alberta weather, when the roads are covered in snow and their cameras can't see where the lines in the roads are, how well is that going to work, right?
Mhm.
I think the technology, maybe a satellites would be there one day, but yeah, and it's really funny too because that's another question people ask, like, well, why can't you just take a cab to the mall? I'm like, well, that's great, and I can do that. What happens once I'm at the mall?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just a poor blind guy trying not to run into walls, right?
This is where I prefer to go to single entrance places, like my hairdresser, for example.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a hairdresser that where I don't have to go find them within a building.
Yes.
Right. So it's just about choosing where you're willing to go.
Hmm.
Um, Even going to restaurants. If I haven't been there at least once, with someone else. I'm
Yeah.
less likely to go to it on my own because I'm not going to know where a thing is, right?
Mhm.
Um, Boston Pizza used to have a table for two right next to the door.
Oh, really?
It was so convenient, right? And I'd go there all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, likely, um, I would have to deal with the risk that maybe somebody would be in my chair. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, I'm blind, get out of my chair!" Like, I'm
Oh,
not going to do
I'm
that.
walking here. I'm walking.
But it was comforting knowing that it was there. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have to ask somebody to get to a chair. I don't have to ask somebody when I want to leave. I don't, you know what I mean? Especially
Mhm.
now that they have this technology where they bring you the machine, right? I
Yes.
don't even have to try to find the counter anymore. That's really convenient, right? So if I think if people are a bit more choosy about where they go, they can get out more often too.
Yeah. And
Because you're
that,
right, you can't just go to the mall.
yeah, that's where something is a little more comfortable for me, I guess, being somebody who's spent so many years seeing, is that it's really funny because if we have people coming into town, friends, I can still guide them around the streets because I know exactly where we're at
That's right.
because I've seen it for so long. And if
Hmm.
it's a new restaurant or if it's a restaurant we've been to before, I know where I'm going. It's comfortable for me. Where I still get uncomfortable is a new place. So if it's a friends or family, a house that I've never been to before, because I'm like, okay, I need to ask somebody to point me the way to the washroom or help walk
Right.
me there.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like your place, I've been to a few times, so I'm getting comfortable knowing my way around there, which is nice,
Hmm.
and walking into doors.
Yeah, I smacked him into a door once.
Yeah, I got a bit of a goose egg.
He
It's
pissed
fun
me
stuff.
off. That's what it was. No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
it's
I'm
it's a
just kidding.
hobby. I'd say more of a talent. I piss a lot of people off. So yeah.
No, he didn't really. It was a total accident. It really was. Um,
But yeah, I went out to, like I said, out to the Vancouver area, going to see an old friend I hadn't seen in years. And it took a few days because I got really confused on how the layout was. But once I felt my way around and just explored a few times, near the end, I could just, get up from the table, go and walk to the bathroom. Didn't really need that assistance. And I like that
right.
independence. But
Familiarity is key.
yes, that familiarity, and it takes a little bit of time. But yeah, I definitely didn't like walking into a new place. It's like, oh, my friends were going to buy a house. And I'm like, okay, you can buy a house, but the layout has to match any of these houses that I've been before. Nothing new, right? So,
That's
yes,
funny.
take in consideration the blind guy, please. Yeah.
I do want to take 20 seconds or so and just say that you can, with these meta glasses, you can put them on and you can call these live agents and they will help you through airports and malls and shopping centers and all this fun stuff.
Yes.
I've never tried yet.
Is that through seeing AI?
No, it's through Ira, AIRA. It's
Oh, okay.
very similar to Be My Eyes.
Yeah.
You know what Be My Eyes is?
Yes.
Okay, but Ira's better in the sense that these guys are paid and trained specifically to deal with the blind, whereas Be My Eyes is great, don't get me
Volunteer.
wrong, but it's all volunteer based, right? So they're not going to be able to help you as much as
Mhm.
Ira would. And apparently, Ira, you put these glasses on and they will walk with you through the mall if you want them to and direct you to the Gap or whatever it is you're going to go, right?
Right. Will they help you cross roads? Because Be
No.
My Eyes with the liability
Nope.
won't help you cross
They
roads.
will not. They will make sure that you're lined up
Yeah.
so that you're okay to cross.
Hmm.
Um, but they are not allowed to talk to you until you're on the other side of the street.
So once again, I got to put on the chicken suit. Great.
Yep.
Good to
Yep.
Well, that's great because that's really why I want to get a pair of it. That's cool because I would honestly try it out one day. I would take the cab to the mall.
Oh, I want to go
Maybe
with you.
maybe go like because I usually get my hair cut at like Tommy Gunn's, right?
Yeah.
Because being a blind person, I really don't care much about my hair anymore, but I still want to try to look pretty. So
You look
yeah,
great.
I would walk
You
to
look
there, engage it, and go to Tommy Gunn's and get a haircut.
We should try it.
Yeah.
If you know what, if one of us gets these glasses for Christmas,
Yes. Hey,
we'll
hey,
go.
hey, mom! It's on my Christmas list.
Yeah.
Just a hint. My wife would be like, "Go get a job," but yeah,
Hey, it's hard for blind people to find work. I'm
Yes.
not saying it's impossible, but there are challenges there.
So
There really
so
are.
tell me a little bit, because I know you're doing all the training right now.
Yeah.
Um, like, have you seen much for postings that would support the blind community in that way? Or do you know where you like access that? That's a,
Yeah, so it's going to depend more on what kind of work you want to do
mhm,
rather than what's good for a blind person. And the reason that I say that is because the JAWS screen reader is really good.
I've heard that.
Like,
Yes.
it has its bugs and its bumps and things along the way. It's not 100% perfect, but it is pretty good. There's no reason why you can't work in an office setting if your employer allows the use of JAWS on their screens,
Okay.
um, on their computers, rather. So that means that because of that technology that's available to us, we can now do reception work, office work, so long as you know how to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all this is accessible through JAWS.
Mhm.
So we get to take training just like any other person does.
And you're doing it in Google Docs as well right now.
Yes,
Oh,
Google Docs is so amazing. I love it. It's really
mhm.
fun. But had I not gotten the training, there would have been some things that tripped me up. There's a few JAWS settings that you have to set proper in order to make the program work. So what the more I can know about how like the ins and outs of my screen reader, the
Mhm.
more valuable I'm going to be to an employer because I'll be next to sighted at that point, really.
Yes.
And it's not their job to teach me how to learn the screen. I need to know this myself,
Yes.
right? So that really what it boils down to is learning what you need for accommodations to do that work. Obviously, I can't be a delivery driver. Okay, fine. There's
Mhm.
nothing you can do to accommodate me there. Clearly, I can't go there. But let's say I wanted to be a dishwasher at a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Mhm.
Okay, so what kind of accommodations am I going to need? I'm going to need to know where everything is. I'm going to need to understand how things are stored, right?
Yeah.
Not just where they are, but how they're stored so I don't cut myself.
Mhm.
Um, and just take a few days to learn the lay of the land of the kitchen. And there's no reason I can't do that either.
Yeah.
And part of the battle is convincing other people that
Is
um,
that you have worth, right? Like, and you have skills that you can
that
use.
adapting is very possible in
Yes.
almost every situation. It's about knowing how to adapt, and you've
Mhm.
got to have the confidence to be able to say to an employer, "Okay, I get that it looks like I can't do it. This is
Mhm.
how I want to adapt to make it possible for me to function."
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot your question again. I'm sorry. I keep cutting off on these tangents on you,
Oh
Greg. I'm
no, I know. I'm
sorry.
glad. I'm like,
We might
no.
have to do it part two.
Oh
Is maybe
yes.
what we'll have to
Well,
do.
let's go on a different tangent here.
Okay, sure.
Taking a step back from all this technology,
Yeah.
um, see, as a new blind person out there,
Mhm.
why would somebody like me want to learn Braille? Because if we have all these technologies, like I said, we talked about the Ray-Ban medical glasses that can tell me what's in front of me. People that can, log in and I can call them, help me walk around the mall. Why would I want or need to learn Braille in this modern age?
The truth is, sadly, Braille is becoming more and more obsolete
Mhm.
for a number of reasons. Um, this is really a personal decision, right? Some people, um, I mean, even sighted people, some of them won't even pick up a book, right? It's
Yeah.
about how important it is to the individual person to stay literate. Um, because being able to read something for yourself, it takes away um, it takes away having to only rely on your hearing,
Yeah.
right? That can get pretty stressful, especially if you're trying to listen to somebody speak and listen to your voiceover at the same time, your screen
Mhm.
reader. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I guess I would encourage the use of all of our senses to stay independent, not just the hearing.
Okay. Mhm.
Because our fingertips still work. And if we can if we can get up and read something for a group of people, or um like, it's harder to do that. This is the biggest reason why I want to stay current with Braille,
Mhm.
is so that I can still participate in things, um without without having to repeat back what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right.
there's a how do I want to say, there's a barrier there.
Mhm.
Braille does take away that barrier, right?
I agree. Like my attitude when I first became blind, along with many things, was like, why would I want to learn this? Because,
Hmm.
like I said, if I want a book and get an audio book, um, where was the use on it? And it was actually going back to my great uncle, um, at a family reunion. My mom picked up a set of playing cards they had in Braille.
Hmm.
And so, you know, that's a barrier that was eliminated. So, you've been teaching me Braille, and now I can read these cards, and we can, I played some poker with some friends.
Nice.
We played, different games,
Hmm.
and so yeah, like I said, that was a barrier that was removed by just learning the basics to read the cards. And so that's brought something back in my life that I thought was lost. And also, too, another little fun fact, like for my birthday, my friends got me a game, but there's, I think the company's called 64 Big Games. I'm not too sure. I can't remember the exact, but they um, turn regular games into Braille games. So they'll
Hmm.
have Braille stickers that put on the cards, so you could play something like Settlers of Catan, or the game that my friends got me for my birthday. And so it opens up that world a little bit, and like you said perfectly, it removes that barrier. And because I loved playing board games when I could see, I looked for them. I have about 100 in my house, and I've given some away. Some I'll give away for the kids, but to have that little thing back that I love so much has been a big thing for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It also can help with privacy too.
Mhm.
Um, do you necessarily want that email read out? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Right. I mean, my speech is pretty fast, but for some people, right, people might hear something that you maybe don't want read out loud, right? So being able to read it gives you some privacy.
Yeah.
How about the ability to be able to glance at the time? Like, see, so as it stands right now, I have no idea how long we've been talking.
Yeah.
The only way for me to find out is for me to turn my phone on and have it talk, which is going to irritate the video, right?
Yes.
It's not good. But what if I had a Braille watch where I literally could just reach under
Check.
my sleeve and just take a peek, so I can know what if we're at time or not, which will
Mhm.
determine when I should end my conversation. Maybe I'm talking too much. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
there's things that I want to still be able to do without the use of speech.
Yes.
And the other thing is, what do I do when the technology's not there?
Mhm.
If I don't at least figure out what I can without the use of technology, then I am 110% reliant on that technology all the time.
Mhm.
Someone puts a book in front of me, oh, where's my phone? Someone puts a dollar bill in front of me, where's my phone?
Yeah.
Reading mail, where's my phone? Right? And that's fine, but I wouldn't have to be as reliant on my phone if there was more access to Braille. Right?
Yes.
So this is why I say that all blind people should at least have some knowledge of Braille, because you never know when you're going to need it.
Mhm.
And you have, as a blind person, just as much right to read as anybody else does, and not just have it read back to you. Like, if you ask the average sighted person, okay, so we're going to take away your ability to read. We're just going to make it so that you have to repeat back what you're hearing off of the screen. Like, how content would anybody be with that?
Mhm.
Right? The ability to learn to read and have the ability to read, rather, sorry, that should be edited out, um, is a gift,
Yeah.
is the way that I see it. So
Mhm.
I don't ever want Braille to leave my life.
No,
if I can
and
help it.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't know if I ever want to get to the point where like read as well as you have. Maybe because I am a little reliant on technology, but like I said, my goal would be to read a children's book to my grandkids, right? Be able to play cards.
Yeah.
So I enjoy those little things. Do I will I ever be the point where it gets like grade two braille and doing the abbreviations? I don't know. But I'm happy with what I'm learning right now. And I'm very grateful for what I have learned because like I said, it's removed some of those barriers that I've had before.
And there's always more learning.
Hmm. Yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks. I've been
You
learning that
can.
slowly. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
All right.
yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today, Brandy. I really appreciate it,
Oh, you're very
and for
welcome.
being our first guest on the podcast here. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and
Mhm.
you're very welcome. This was
Yeah.
really fun.
And pretty soon, like I said, one of our next videos, we're going to have to get the Play-Doh out, do a little bit of flipping. Hopefully, the dog won't try and eat it. But yeah, we're going to have to do some cooking practice on here next time.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Good
Well,
stuff.
thank you so much. And thank you for everybody listening here on our podcast. Until next time, nanu nanu.